What if I told you the biggest limitation on your life isn't money, talent, or luck, but time itself? Right now, the average human life is barely 70 or 80 years. So imagine this. What if you lived for 1,000 years? Would you even recognize yourself? Have you ever noticed how rushed everything feels? Careers, relationships, dreams, all squeezed into a ticking clock. What happens when that clock almost disappears? I've thought about this deeply, and here's the uncomfortable truth. If humans lived for 1,000 years, everything we value today would break and be rebuilt. First, let's talk about fear. Most of our fears come from limited time. Fear of failure, fear of starting over, fear of wasting years. Now imagine having centuries ahead of you. Would you still be afraid to change careers at 40 or leave a bad relationship at 60 if you knew you had 900 years left? Personally, I believe courage would become normal. When time is abundant, fear loses its power. Risk feels cheaper. Experimentation feels safer. But here's what most people miss. Motivation might collapse. Deadlines create urgency. Without them, procrastination could become humanity's biggest enemy. Ask yourself honestly, if you had 1,000 years, would you chase your dreams faster or endlessly delay them? Education would completely transform. School wouldn't end at 22. Learning would stretch across centuries. Medicine at 50, art at 120, philosophy at 400. I imagine people reinventing themselves dozens of times, not once or twice, but again and again, like seasons of a long, evolving life. But here's the darker side: boredom. When you've seen empires rise and fall, tasted every pleasure, mastered every skill, what keeps life meaningful? I think meaning would shift from achievement to depth. Not how much did I do, but how deeply did I experience it? Now let's talk relationships. This is where things get complicated. Could love survive 300 years, 500 years, a full millennium? Marriage, as we know it, might vanish. Lifelong wouldn't mean forever. It might mean a century-long chapter, intentionally chosen and respectfully ended. I've noticed even now, people change drastically every 10 or 15 years. Multiply that by 10. You wouldn't just grow old together, you'd grow into strangers. And parenting. Imagine raising children while knowing you'll outlive not just them, but their grandchildren. How would that shape attachment and grief? Society would also face a brutal challenge: power. If leaders lived 1,000 years, would they ever let go? Would progress slow under immortal decision-makers? From my perspective, term limits wouldn't be optional anymore. They'd be survival rules. Otherwise, the future would be owned by the past. Economics would flip upside down. Retirement at 65? Meaningless. Savings. Long-term planning would span centuries, not decades. Imagine investing not for your children, but for yourself. 600 years from now, patience would become the most valuable currency on Earth. But here's a shocking thought. Crime might decrease. When consequences stretch across centuries, impulsive destruction loses its appeal. Still, inequality could explode. If only some people lived 1,000 years, yet time itself would become the ultimate privilege. This forces a moral question we can't avoid. Should longer life be earned, limited, or shared equally? There's no easy answer here. Spiritually, everything changes. Religions built around short lives, urgency, and afterlife promises would have to redefine purpose. I suspect humans would turn inward more. With so much time, self-understanding might finally matter more than constant achievement. Here's the paradox that keeps me awake. Living longer wouldn't automatically make life better. It would only amplify who we already are. If you're curious, kind, and disciplined, 1,000 years could be extraordinary. But if you're lost, bitter, or empty, it could feel like a prison. So maybe the real lesson isn't about living longer, but living deeper, using time intentionally, even when it's limited. Because whether you live 80 years or 1,000, the question remains the same. What are you doing with the time you have right now?